Okay, students, in the last video we have discussed about different types of humidity, definition of humidity, and also we have discussed about latent heats and all. So in this video we'll be learning how to measure relative humidity, okay, and what instrument is used to measure relative humidity, what are the procedures, okay, needed to measure relative humidity. We'll be discussing that. Okay, now you see wet bulb and dry bulb thermometer, or it is also known as psychrometer or hygrometer. Psychrometer, hygrometer, or it is also known as wet and dry bulb thermometer, is an instrument that is used to measure relative humidity. Now you see the wet and dry bulb thermometer consists of two ordinary thermometer installed on it. The bulb of the wet bulb thermometer is kept permanently moistened, okay, by a piece of muslin, or you can say cloth, wrapped around it, and an attached length of wick is dipped into a reservoir of water which is kept below this thermometer. So you can also see the images of this. This is the image showing wet and dry bulb thermometer. You can see in the right hand side it has a wet bulb thermometer, okay, which is wrapped in a muslin, which is deep in a a container which is filled with water, okay, and the other side is a dry bulb thermometer which records the dry temperature. Okay, coming to next. So now evaporation of water takes places from the wet muslin which covers the wet bulb thermometer. So some amount of heat will be extracted from the wet bulb thermometer. So when evaporation takes places, then some amount of heat will be extracted in the form of latent heat, okay. So therefore the wet bulb temperature will always record the lower temperature than the dry bulb thermometers, okay. So dry bulb obviously it will be recording the drier temperature, but here due to evaporation from the wet bulb thermometer, the temperature further reduces in this portion, so it records the lower temperature. Now the difference in reading, that is between wet bulb thermometer and dry bulb thermometer, is compared with the relative humidity chart to calculate the percentage of relative humidity. So we can see the chart here. Now first of all we need to find out the difference between the wet bulb temperature and dry bulb temperature. Say for example the difference between wet bulb temperature and dry bulb temperature is 5, or you say if that wet bulb temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Celsius, say for example wet bulb temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, and dry bulb temperature is obviously it will be higher, that will be 25 degrees Celsius. Now the difference between these two will be 5, okay. So this is the difference between dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature. Now what we have to do is we need to see in the column of dry bulb temperature or dry bulb. So we know that the dry bulb temperature is 25, so we need to go to the particular 25 in that portion where 25 is written out here, this one, and the difference is 5. So this is the difference 5. So we need to bring this line down to that up to the particular row where 25 is there. So this is the line. So it is intersecting in this point, that 64% is the relative humidity of that particular area if the dry bulb temperature is 25 degrees Celsius and the wet bulb temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. So with this process we can find out the relative humidity of any area, okay, by the help of this chart and following these steps. Okay, now coming to next. So the evaporation rate, the rate of evaporation is related to the amount of water vapor in the air. So if the air is dry, so there is a lot of space to accommodate water vapor, okay. As a result, the rate of evaporation is rapid. So that means if the rate to have a rapid rate of evaporation, the air need to be dry. Okay, now more heat is extracted from the wet bulb thermometer. So during the dry air, if the air is more dry, then more heat will be extracted from the dry bulb thermometer due to evaporation. Therefore, it records much lower temperature than the dry bulb thermometer. So this is what we have already discussed in the first 2 points. Okay, now coming to next, that is, so calculation of relative humidity we have already done. So next topic will be condensation, and there are different forms of condensation. We will be discussing that. Okay, now first we'll see the definition of condensation. So condensation is a process through which water vapor changes or change into liquid state and becomes a tiny droplets of water or ice. Okay, so it is a process when water vapor is changing into a liquid state, or it can become tiny droplets of water or ice. It can convert in the form of ice as well. Now the process of condensation is just opposite to the evaporation. So what happens in the evaporation? In evaporation, water converts into vapor form. Thus, further cooling of the saturated air start the process of condensation. Okay. After evaporation, if there is further cooling, okay, if the saturated air further cools up, then the condensation process starts. Okay, now coming to next, dew point temperature. Now what is dew point temperature? The temperature at which relative humidity becomes 100% and the condensation starts is termed as dew point temperature. So you can say the temperature at which the humidity becomes 100%, then immediately after that condensation starts. So that particular temperature is termed as dew point temperature. Okay, this is important. Dew point temperature and definition of condensation. Okay, coming to next, process of condensation. Now condensation is a process in which water vapor is converted into water droplets or snow, or it may be in a ice crystal form. So water vapor which is in a gaseous form in the air is converted into liquid if the temperature of the air is above 0 degrees Celsius. This is important to note. If the water vapor, okay, say for example, when the water vapor converts into a liquid form, only in that condition when the temperature of the air is above 0 degrees Celsius. But when the temperature of the air falls below 0 degrees Celsius, then the condensation will be in the form of solid or in the form of ice crystal. Okay, so this is important to note. Condensation will be in liquid form if the temperature is above 0 degrees Celsius. Condensation will be in a solid form or in ice crystal form when the temperature of the air is less than 0 degrees Celsius. Now it says that latent heat of about 560 calories is released during the process of condensation. So that we have already discussed in the previous videos. So condensation depends on two factors. They are the relative humidity of the air and degree of cooling. So these are the two important factors. Based on these two factors, condensation process relies. Okay. Okay, in this video we'll be discussing about the condition required for condensation. Now there are generally two conditions are ideal for condensation, that is air should be saturated, that means at least the relative humidity should be 100%, and the second one is presence of hygroscopic nuclei. Now hygroscopic nuclei are the small microscopic particles that is up to 0.1 to 1 microns and sometime up to 5 microns in size. So being very small or microscopic, these are not visible to naked eyes. So now in the process of condensation, water vapor needs some kind of surface. On that particular surface, the water vapor condenses. Like dew is condensed on vegetation at the ground level or cooled metal object. Similarly, in the higher surface, at the higher level, okay, that is small microscopic particles forms the base, okay, which is also termed as aerosols, forms the base for the water droplets to condense. Okay, this the hygroscopic particles are smaller than 1 microns or less than 1 microns. The cloud droplets vary in size from 0 to 3 microns up to 20 microns. So this being very tiny are partially weightless or practically weightless, therefore cloud can remain suspended in the air. So this microscopic hygroscopic nuclei is very small in size, so due to its tiny size it remains suspended in the air. Okay, so you observe cloud floating in the air. So this is due to the small size nuclei where this water droplets condense. Okay, now coming to next, that is forms of condensation. So we'll be discussing the forms of condensation. Now based on the state of substance, there are two types: liquid form of condensation and the solid form of condensation. Now when temperature is greater than 0 degrees Celsius, then forms of condensation can be dew, fog, mist and cloud. When the solid form of condensation, when the temperature is less than 0 degrees Celsius, it will be in the form of rim, frost and cloud. Okay, although cloud comes in both the categories because some clouds are formed by ice crystal as well. Now forms of condensation can also be classified according to the place of formation. Now according to the place of formation, there are three types: on the ground like dew and frost, near the ground mist, fog and rim, and at higher level cloud. So this is based on the place of formation. Okay, so rest will be discussing one by one about all this. Okay, in the next video.